Is Hezbollah infiltrating South African society? It just so happens that a journalist from Hezbollah may have just entered the country. Let's get into this. While the ANC's friendship with Iran and its proxies such as Hamas is fairly well known, what's less known is the fact that Hezbollah, which is another Hamas ally, may have just infiltrated South African society, following in the footsteps of its other proxies. But before we get into this harrowing story, could I please remind you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? It's completely free and all you have to do is click on the subscribe button below the video. If you would like to enjoy some additional perks and support the channel, you can do so by becoming a Power Club member. All you have to do is click on the join button below. Now let's get into this. So the incident that I'm speaking about comes courtesy of Open Source Intel. So Open Source Intel is a very big page on X. While it isn't any sort of official news source, what Open Source is very good at doing is getting a hold of a lot of Middle East affairs, leaks, videos, photos, all sorts of different things that the mainstream media often overlooks. And so they do have a very good track record, and they're not generally known as being a page that spews lies or propaganda. Now, that being said, there's this update that's come through claiming that Hezbollah's most prized journalist, Ali Mortada, fled to South Africa. And it explains here, I cannot confirm, but check the comments, he's getting put in his place. So just to give a little bit of a background, Ali Mortada is a very famous journalist in Lebanon, and unlike a lot of others, he is actually Hezbollah affiliated. He works for Al Mayadeen, which is a very popular newspaper there, and he's very well known for his strong pro-Hezbollah stance on many issues, including the current war with Israel. Now, what's actually very important to note is that first of all, we haven't seen any official reports showing Mortada in South Africa, but I did come across something quite bamboozling, to say the least, that does actually suggest that he may be within the country. So if you go into Ali Mortada's profile, we notice how you can go to his About This Account section, and as you click, you see how he joined on November 2011 and his account is based in South Africa. Now, if we click for more information, it explains the country or region that an account is based can be impacted by recent travel or temporary relocation. This data may not be accurate and can change periodically. Now, it's very important for us to note this because ultimately Mortada has spent the bulk amount of time in Lebanon. We've seen his posts consistently since 2011. It always seems to be photos and videos of him in Lebanon itself. And so what seems to may have happened is that he was in Lebanon for the longest period of time, but that he may have actually traveled to South Africa or temporarily relocated to South Africa as a means of potentially seeking refuge. But ultimately, this decision impacted his location on his X account, as it explains right here in this explanation. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why would he go to South Africa of all places? And I think the answer is actually pretty clear. So I'd like for us to take another look at the Iran axis of resistance. So, of course, the Iranian government is the head, and they've got proxies scattered around the Middle East, for example, Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, of course, we know for a fact that the ANC has had warm ties with Iran for the longest time. We've even seen how Iran recently infiltrated South Africa's education system, having a lecture at the University of Pretoria. Specifically, the Iranian embassy did this. We've also, of course, seen how Hamas seems to have close ties with ANC members. Many officials have been invited to South Africa. The ANC went to the ICJ against Israel, and we've seen how the likes of Naledi Pandor have met with Hamas officials such as Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, of all places. And yet again, of course, Tehran being the capital of Iran, which is the head of the snake, so to speak. Now, what's also interesting is that even though we've seen how Iran and Hamas have very close ties with the ANC, we haven't seen as much on the Hezbollah front. But of course, Mortada being in South Africa could make perfect sense because ultimately they are all part of the same axis. I'd also like to remind everybody how the ANC has had no problem with allowing these groups to install their own installations in South Africa. Here we have a photograph which is allegedly the Hamas office in Cape Town. And yet again, it will just be another example of how the ANC seems to have no problem siding with these groups, and how, if Mortada is in South Africa, very few of us should be surprised. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. If you found it interesting, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more content. Until next time, I'm Matthew Cohen, and this is the Power Pod.